A boy told his mother that a man died in his bedroom closet. She brushed it off as her son having a vivid imagination, but she slowly learned that he was correct, and that her son had even been talking to the man in the closet. Another child told his kindergarten teachers that a strange man was trying to lure him outside. After checking the surveillance tapes, though, they saw nobody was there. In this video, we dive into stories from children that make the spine tingle. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 of the creepiest things kids have said to their parents. 25. Past lives. Some believe that children are a connection to a world we've lost. But could they really extend to the land of the dead? A woman named Jackie Lampo thinks so. She recalls a story that her mother told her once. When Jackie was still a toddler, her mother shared some old family photos. One of those was her own sister. Immediately, Jackie recognized the face, telling her mother that it was Aunt Diane, who took care of me before I got here. What was terrifying was that Diane had died months before Jackie had been born. How did she know? 24. Premonition. For children, a brush with death can leave a permanent psychological scar. But for Loros from New York, it was her who never recovered from the words her little girl said one day. While making her way down some stairs, the girl lost her footing and narrowly missed crash landing into a glass table. In a state of panic, she went running to her mother for comfort. According to the girl, she had seen, quote, the man from church with the long beard who was urging her to go somewhere. Luckily, she was told that she was too young to cross over, but it was a brush with death much closer than any parent wants. 23. Catching the devil. One strange encounter might be an anomaly. However, when the same thing is spotted by two different generations, it might mean something deeper is at work. Keith Larkin swears that he had been visited by the devil on his bedroom ceiling as a child, but no one believed him back then. It wasn't until years later, when he told his wife and daughter that his fears were confirmed. Keith's daughter had seen exactly the same figure. 22. Blue with red eyes. Amy Vitolo and her husband were left with a haunting feeling by what their daughter told them. Out of nowhere, their 3-year-old began describing a figure, in the shape of a boy, that was invisible to everyone else. Whenever it appeared, she froze with fear. One day, when Amy asked for a description, her daughter said that the boy was blue with red eyes, something Amy never forgot. If you think those words are memorable, just wait until we're at number 17. That's where things move from creepy to truly terrifying. 21. Cowboy and Mano. Helena Grant thought she had found the perfect house for her small family. After what her daughter said, she wasn't so sure. The little girl insisted that she could feel something pushing her body around. Apparently, these spirits were named Cowboy and Mano, people who used to live in the house. Helena later found out that the property dated back to the 1930s and was part of the history of old Hollywood, where cowboys were common. 20. Scared of the dark. Darkness can bring out unsettling feelings. When a couple visited a friend's house for a bonfire, they expected a relaxing evening. All of a sudden, though, their friend's child screamed. He had seen a dark presence watching him in a dark corner of the house. According to the boy, it was a tall shape without eyes, large claws, and more teeth than a shark. Everybody looked around, confused, but found nothing. 19. Otie. Whenever a parent gets a call from their children's school, a flood of thoughts go through their mind. A Reddit user posting under the name Oped will never forget when her son's kindergarten rang to deliver some unsettling news. According to the post, the boy refused to go outside, even when it was recess. When asked why, he claimed there was a man named Otie beckoning him to come outside. Taking the report seriously, school officials sifted through surveillance videos, but they weren't able to spot the man. That wasn't all. At home, the child had shown similar behavior, standing in the doorway of the house and refusing to go any further. Another Reddit user commented on the thread with a link to Otis Toole, a convicted serial killer who had kidnapped and killed at least one child in the 1980s. 18. Die, die, die. There are certain words that are plain spooky for a toddler to say. One parent reports that their young child had a phase of repeating the word hi to everyone and everything they interacted with. It seemed harmless. But on one occasion, it sounded as though their toddler was saying die instead. When asked about it, the child looked the parent straight in the eyes and whispered the word slowly. 17. I died, but now I'm here. We would do anything to protect our children. But what if something happened before they were ever born? As a young couple were bathing their 2-year-old, they took the chance to teach her the importance of hygiene and her privates. Shockingly, the little girl seemed to know all too well about these parts of her body. She told her parents that somebody once tried to scroof her in that part, even breaking the door down to get to her. As the parents looked at each other, stunned, the girl continued, seemingly trying to assure them, saying, "I fought back. I died, but now I'm here." 16. I am Rick. This next tale comes from the depths of Reddit, where a user by the name of Cithella shared their creepy experience with their son Carson. There were a few things not quite right with Carson. He would slide his forehead along the floor as he crawled and made strange noises. One night, he ran to wake his parents, yelling that there was a monster in the basement. After making his way down the stairs, the father was relieved to find nothing. Later, Carson wrapped himself up in blankets, refusing to come out of bed. When he revealed his face, the boy had an emotionless expression and told his father, "Carson is gone. I am Rick." 15. An upside-down friend. A mother named Kelly once had a bizarre experience with their daughter, who told them about her new friend called Upside Down. According to the child, this friend could only be found in the rain and had 2 faces. One that's the right way up, and a second one that's flipped the wrong way around. Was it just an act of imagination, or something else? And if you want some proof of the beyond, stick around for a tale of reincarnation at number 10. 14. I miss it. Kids are so active that they enjoy almost any sport. Almost any sport. One hobby you wouldn't normally associate with children is golf. That's why when Jenny heard her child suggest they play a round of golf, they were surprised. It was after the child had returned a lost ball from the forest, and he asked his mother, "Can we go golfing this weekend? I miss it." 13. Grandma gets a death sentence. Clutching her hands and looking straight into her eyes, a little boy had some terrifying words for his grandmother. He told her that she was very old and would die soon. Then, just to hammer the point home, the boy gestured to the clock. Is that creepy, or just brutally honest? 12. A creepy new friend. Parents certainly wouldn't expect to be introduced to a child's new friend at midnight. When they noticed that their 5-year-old boy wasn't sleeping, his response was mystifying. He explained that there was a woman standing in his doorway, staring and smiling at him. 11. Mona and Irvin. Have you ever had the feeling that there's a presence in your house? What about when you think about all the previous occupants and all that must have happened there? When Charmaine moved into her daughter's house to live with her children, she came face to face with that connection to the past. Everything was going well until one day when the woman's 3-year-old grandson uttered something totally out of the blue. He took hold of a necklace Charmaine was wearing and told her that a woman named Mona used to wear one very similar. That Mona he was talking about was the person who had built the house, in a picturesque location above a beautiful lake years ago. But it got even stranger. Not long after commenting on the necklace, the same boy reacted to an old box of photos found in the house. He claimed to recognize one of the men, saying that he often swings from a tree into the lake. That man had been dead for years. 10. Reincarnation. Reincarnation is a pretty difficult concept to wrap your head around. Hold on though, because this story might just change your mind. While welcoming their first daughter into the world, Carla and her husband were having mixed emotions. Towards the end of the pregnancy, their beloved dog Oscar passed away. They were hoping he would live to meet their children, but he was already 10 years old. A few years later, their toddler pointed to a picture of their dog and asked bluntly, "Is that Oscar?" After getting confirmation, she paused for a moment before telling Carla, "You know, I was Oscar last time." 9. The man in the closet. After moving into a new house, a young son began to tell his mother Robin something terrifying. Sometimes, from a different room, she would even hear her son talking to this person in the closet. The boy explained that there was a man living in his bedroom closet and that he had even died there. But whenever she opened the door, there was nobody else. Robin reassured him that he was wrong. The previous tenant had been a widowed woman. At least, that's what she thought. Until one day, while out in the yard, an elderly neighbor told her that her son was right. There had been a man living in that room. He was the widow's late husband, and he even died in that room, just like the boy said. 8. Lost in translation. Some things transcend language, and seemingly even time. A Twitter user by the name of Allison Scat posted a time-bending experience of her family. One day, without prompting, her 3-year-old son began singing a peculiar nursery rhyme. Allison was puzzled about where her daughter could have picked it up, especially because it wasn't in English. Her husband knew straight away. He told Allison that the language was Polish. It was exactly the same nursery rhyme that his grandmother used to sing to him. However, she had died long before the little boy was born. Now, coming up in the top 5, toys moving in the middle of the night, a baby who met his dead grandfather, and a connection to a house that goes back generations. 7. Smell of God. Ever wondered what it might feel like to be in touch with God, or to cross over to the other side? Those who have been closest are people who have slipped into comas. Erica Hoskins' 11-week-old baby had a tragic brain injury and fell into a coma for 3 days while she prayed. Eventually, the baby girl pulled through and survived. But something strange happened. When she developed speech as a toddler, she seemed to still remember how it felt to be in a coma. In fact, every time it rained, she would say, "It smells like God." 6. The child who predicted his mom's miscarriage. We've already seen plenty of times when children seem to reach into the past. But what about the future? Twitter user Shell Bell shared a spooky story about her son's premonitions. He was only 5, but confident about one thing, that his mother was pregnant again. That wasn't all. Going into further detail, he predicted that his mother was carrying twins and that one wouldn't survive, leaving him with a single sister. As time went on, her son was proven correct. She was pregnant with twins. One was lost in a miscarriage, and eventually, she gave birth to a baby girl. 5. A lost brother. Left alone in a room at night, it doesn't take much to scare children. For one boy, it was more than just his imagination. Toys would light up and spring to life without being touched. But that was nothing compared to one night when the boy opened his eyes to see a tall, mysterious figure at the foot of his bed touching his leg. Frozen with terror, it was only the next day the boy was able to tell his parents what had happened. They brushed it off as a nightmare, refusing to believe it. Still, for years, something about the man's description rang true for the family. It sounded like the boy's older brother. The only problem was that his brother died before he was even born. And those toys that had been lighting up? They were his brothers. 4. Gigi Joe. While taking care of her grandchildren, Colleen Jury was given the fright of her life. Full of energy one day, they yelled words that Colleen hadn't heard for decades. To try and get her attention, they yelled, "Gigi Joe!" over and over again before abruptly stopping. These words didn't mean much to most people, but for Colleen, it made her spine tingle. She could still remember this was the name that her mother was called. It was as if they were reaching back generations to their ancestors, despite Gigi Joe being long dead. 3. Creepy K. If you're going to have some kind of spirit following you around, isn't it best to have a force for good? A 4-year-old confessed to her mother that she was constantly being interrupted by someone she called Creepy K. Apparently, Creepy K is mean to mean people and nice to nice people. Luckily, it seemed that this little girl didn't get on its bad side and never found out just how mean Creepy K could be. 2. My dad's look-alike. Some genes skip a generation. That's what Carol Kotarski was thinking as her young baby slowly grew into a boy. Not only did the boy have a similar appearance, but he was even developing the same hobbies. That's only the beginning, though. According to this boy, before entering the world, he met his grandfather many times when he was still a spirit. 1. Grammaw Missy. There's something about a familiar neighborhood that can make you feel like you've been there forever. When a mother named Gail picked up her daughter from kindergarten, the girl pointed towards the house asking to go there, describing it as the blue one with the cats. This was lost on Gail. The house wasn't blue at all. However, when they got home, the picture became clearer. Gail's husband had spent his entire life in the area, and he knew that his grandmother used to live in a blue house surrounded by cats. However, Grammaw Missy, as she was known, had died more than 3 decades earlier. Now, we've covered some spooky connections that kids have, but there are even stranger mysteries hiding in plain sight, and plenty of evidence that we are being lied to. So, check out our video on UFO conspiracies to dive deeper into the unknown, and let us know what creepy things your kids have said. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out our social medias, including my personal ones. Links in the description. Now, click that video and check out those UFOs. You know you want to. Come on. Do it. Do it. Click right here. Here. I won't leave until you do. You and I, we're staying. Click it. check out the UFOs. You do it.